Hi, my name is Shawn Chin. I graduated with a degree in finance and I graduated in May 2019. I currently work for Ernst& Young. Um, they are a large consulting and accounting firm, and I work as a financial analyst. After graduation, uh, while I was here at UNT, I really didn't have anything set out. It was actually a little bit scary, a little nervous. I was a little nervous due to the fact that um, a lot of my peers had kind of plans to get a job at a specific company coming out of UNT, but I didn't really have anything lined up. I was lucky enough to have an internship in my senior year at a law firm, and um, at the law firm, I was given the opportunity to use my experience there to get a job after graduation at Ernst& Young as um, it wasn't really planned. I never planned that to happen. I was lucky enough to go to a career fair here at UNT, and when I went to the career fair, Ernst& Young came for the very first time. As I've gone to a lot of career fairs in the past, EY came for the very first time, and I was lucky enough to speak with a recruiter there, and that recruiter was kind enough to keep in contact with me. So that's how I actually got the job at EY. One thing that I do recommend for students to do while they're here at UNT is read a book that I had the chance of reading after I graduated, and I wish I read this earlier, or even just listen to a TED Talk that was from a author named Meg Jay, Dr. Meg Jay. She's a clinical psychologist, and she talks about um, her experience with clients in their 20s, and she focuses on individuals, specifically age range from 20 to 30, uh, due to the fact that um, she has a book written called The Defining Decade that it outlines each decade is kind of focused on a specific part of your life. The best way to explain it is from 0 to 10, it's kind of like if you imagine um, picking up string, picking up wood to build a boat. And from 10 to 20, basically building your boat with the string, with the pieces of wood that you've been able to collect, and um, creating a raft. And then from 20 to 30, it's like setting off sail and going off an island to another island, trying to figure out where you want to go in your 20s to 30s. But then when you get to your 30s to 40s, it's like you start realizing that you're going towards a specific island, and you can see if this island is an island that you want to go towards or it isn't. But if it isn't, it's really hard to shift sails and go in a different direction to a whole nother island. That analogy basically really helped me understand how important our 20s are in defining what we want our future to look like. Um, so I definitely recommend reading The Defining Decade or even just listening to her TED Talk. Um, but also definitely networking. One of the chapters that she has in her book is to network. So especially for business students, I definitely recommend everyone to meet as many people as you can and keep your connections even throughout college, because it does help.
Perfect. And then, how did your program at UNT help you feel prepared for your current role?
UNT helped me a lot. Definitely, I would like to, um, I guess, mention a few of the professors that helped me a lot. Uh, Professor Jack first, he was an investment or finance professor that I had here at UNT, along with Professor John Bain. And both of them, Professor Bain is actually a real estate professor, but both of them taught me so many things that I was able to take away and use even after graduating, having a conversation with uh, a fellow peer about certain topics that I've been able to learn here at UNT, or using the things that I learned to the current job that I have right now. At EY, as a consultant, I work with multiple clients within the financial service industry, and that definitely requires you to have some form of knowledge of the things that I was able to learn here. So definitely, I was able to take a lot from my education here. I was able to, when I graduated, I didn't really have a specific um, place that I wanted to go. So I kind of, I think a lot of people have been there. If you haven't gotten a job right out of college, is kind of just anything that comes your way. Um, but when I graduated and I was able to go to the career fair at UNT, there's hundreds of companies, and you're able to meet with so many different types of people in different industries. Uh, I didn't really have a set plan to go to EY only. I definitely did look for other companies, but I I will say that I'm thankful that I am here at EY due to the fact that the culture there is, it really focuses on helping you develop as a person and as an individual, um, beyond just the work environment, because they have mentors there. And like my boss, he's actually not really like a boss to me. He's more of a father figure. Definitely, I'm very thankful that I have him as my boss, due to the fact that when I interviewed with him, I think this goes for everyone. When you're interviewing, it only takes one person to really believe in you. And one of my coworkers, she said this that she said something that really resounded or resonated with me. Um, and it took me back because we were having a conversation just normally, and she stopped our conversation just to say, "Can you believe that our boss gave us a chance and believed in us enough to hire us when there are so many other options?" And it gave me a chance to reflect and realize, like, it does only take one person to believe in you. Um, so I think to never give up is a really big thing when somebody graduates. And if you were in my position, you graduate with no job or no plan really in mind, um, just to look optimistically and to believe in yourself. Believe that somebody out there will believe in you and give you a chance. It's just a matter of time, and it's just about being consistent. At EY, there were 5 rounds of interviews. The very first was a video interview that was pre-recorded. The second interview was a phone interview. Um, the third and fourth were in-person behavioral and a little bit of analytical questions focused on the position. And the very fifth and final interview was a case study. So The first and second interviews were kind of just filter interviews, kind of seeing where you are as an individual, how well you can speak to others, and kind of just giving a small background of your experience. But the third and fourth interviews were a little bit more demanding due to the fact that they asked behavioral questions such as what are your strengths and weaknesses? Or it's kind of a difficult question to answer due to the fact that it's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. But yeah, I definitely was able to get a lot of help from my friends who went through interviews on how to answer questions like that. And definitely, like, I understand people Google questions of behavioral questions before their interviews, and I definitely recommend you do that or speak with other people. Or reach out to like alumni, for example, on kind of how they answered specific questions because you can find all the behavioral questions and kind of some of the analytical questions online. But definitely, um, I'm thankful that even those difficult questions that were asked of me, I had stories kind of formulated uh, before answering the questions. So I kind of prepared um, in a way that I could give an analogy or a story that I experienced to answer a question. And that's definitely the correct way to answer those questions. And the fifth case study was um, basically it was a 3-page sheet asking what your ideas are on a example of there's different case studies and different I guess like scenarios. My specific scenario was focusing on two companies that were merging together, and one of the companies was my client, and I had to let them know of kind of the pros and cons of this merger, what they should be wary of, and kind of just get a whole idea of why or why not to continue on with the merger. I think that was very difficult due to the fact that I never went through something like that. Um, but yeah, the um, UNT offers a lot of like interview practices, so that really helps. And I actually went to a couple of them, and I went to speak with career advisors as well while I was here at UNT, and even after I graduated, while I was unemployed, um, just working as a mentor, um, I was able to talk to career advisors and kind of have an idea on how to interview, how to fix my resume, and that definitely helped prepare me at least for the first 4 rounds of interviews. But the case study is definitely something that um, people just have to have to try their best in preparing in any way they can by talking to other people or possibly looking at mock case studies online.